Good morning, everyone, and welcome to OHR In Conversation with, as we celebrate and honor Women's History Month. The Office of Human Rights is Prince George's County's civil and human rights education and enforcement agency. We investigate complaints of discrimination. We combat human trafficking. We ensure equitable access for all people to county government services in the language of their preference. And we provide opportunities for learning and engagement on areas of social justice importance. My name is Kyla Hannington, and I'm the Public Outreach and Engagement Division Manager with the Office of Human Rights. And with me as co-host is Tiana Davis, the wonderful Outreach Specialist with our office. OHR In Conversation with is an opportunity to highlight some of the incredible civil rights and social justice people, places, and spaces in Prince George's County. And we are thrilled today to welcome Rocio Treminio-Lopez. Rocio was sworn in as mayor of the Town of Brentwood on May 5th, 2015, after serving as interim mayor beginning in November of 2014. Over the past decade, she has led with a focus on community policing, inclusion, small business development, and neighborhood revitalization. She began her career in public services in 1999 at the Alice Hamilton Occupational Health Center, supporting occupational safety, health education, and environmental advocacy initiatives. After 4 years in the banking industry of Bank of America, she chose to return to community-centered work. And in 2007, she joined the Child Resource Center in Prince George's County, working with the nationally recognized Healthy Families America program, where she provided home visitation services to low-income, first-time teen mothers, promoting healthy childhood development and preventing abuse and neglect. She currently serves as Latino Business Development Manager for the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, building partnerships with Latino-owned businesses, chambers of commerce, faith-based organizations, and community leaders to strengthen economic opportunity across the county. Rocio studied at the University of the District of Columbia and Montgomery College before earning her bachelor's degree in human resources management from the University of Maryland Global Campus. Born in El Salvador, she immigrated to the United States at 14 and is a proud wife and mother of 4, including 2 children who have already graduated from college. So thank you so much for joining us today, Rocio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God, what I listening to you, all the things that have done, I feel like, oh my God, it's been a while now.
It's You really have an incredible story, and we are so excited to get to highlight you. I actually, speaking of your story, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is we just heard in your bio that you have done this work. What is Healthy Families America? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because your career has been amazing.
One of the Healthy Families America, it's curriculum designed to provide early child development and also providing information and resources to first-time moms. Because it can be challenging to be a mother, especially when you it's your first child. Not to mention that when I first started the program, majority of my caseload were on minors. So I
Mm.
used to work from middle school to high school students, and providing that resources that not only the county has, but how to keep and maintain those girls in school after labor and delivery. So that was part of my role, and I did that doing home visitations. We were not expecting to bring the girls to our center, but we were like working with the families and doing at least 1 hour visitation once per week, depending on the stage. If they were like in the third trimester of their pregnancy, it was a weekly until the baby turned 6 months. After that, we do bi-weekly, and when the baby turned about a year, I would say 2 years, then we start going once a month. And the whole goal was to give them, resources, play therapy, uh, name it, everything that you can learn to do with a baby.
Well, your career is like, it really is such an honor to get to feature you. And I really see you as the epitome of a public servant. Like, you're somebody who's done so much work for community, and then you're working, you're the, your work in politics. And so we did want to highlight you as the first Latina mayor in Maryland, and just talking to you about your path into politics. Can you talk about like how did you decide? Okay, I'm going to go for this.
Honestly, if you, like I said, my first job was working for the Alice Hamilton Occupational Health Center. And the reason the center was closed down or we lost budget, it was right after the uh, 911 incident that when President Bush stated that there was no lead or asbestos, so we lost the funding from DePaul University, so we had to close the doors. And but I learned so much, fall protection, working with hazmat trainings, lead and asbestos. So I knew so much about lead and asbestos that helped me to guide first time mom how to identify, if you have lead or asbestos in your property, especially a lot of the participants were low income families living in apartments that were not conditioned, to the livable condition were not there, So we have to tell them how to identify, look at the windows, the chips. So that gave me some sort of like one thing connect me to the other. But going back to politics, it was the same because I understood back then in a young age that everything was so political, that you need the funding, that you need to fight for those funds, and the only way that you can do it is with getting into the political arena, getting to know who are in charge, who do you need to talk. Because I remember once, there was a desperate need because the moms didn't have diapers, the diapers were so expensive. So that's what I make my first call asking for donations, and we got like a full truckload of diapers that we can give to the moms. So, and also facing, the lot of bureaucracy in the agencies trying to get them food stamps, medical assistant. It was a lot of, steps to get there. And as a family worker, I feel like, okay, if this is becoming difficult for me, that I'm here on the phone trying to work with these agencies, how difficult is it for a teenager being a mom that doesn't know much, or a parent trying to help out when they have to work, when they have to worry about other kids, they have to worry so much. So it was too much of a thing, and that's how I decide to start getting into how do I know these politicians, who is in charge, right? Who is in my district, and that's how I learned. And eventually I went to work for a municipality nearby. I worked for 6 years at Edmonston. I wasn't planning, I was planning to take a break because I have my last child. So I was like, let me take some time off so I can dedicate it time to my kid. But didn't work that way. They called me to work. They needed somebody to translate for the police department. And there was a case, I don't know if you remember, that they were stopping a lot of the immigrant community, and they were not properly reading their Miranda rights. So they needed somebody to translate that, because that was how they were getting so many cases, because that was not, they didn't understood what they were told. So I used to work in there, and that's how I actually got my hands like what is the municipal government and how it works. So that's when I decided to run for office here in Brentwood as a council person, but I ended up being the mayor.
Yeah. Now, while you were running, were you aware of the possibility of like, hey, if I win this, I'll be the first Latina mayor? Or was that not even top of mind for you?
No, I was just no. I don't. First, I thought that I didn't have the time because I have 4 kids. Then I have to work full-time job, and at the same time, in 2012 is when I enrolled back into school because I didn't before I didn't have the time, so I went back to school. So I was like, how am I gonna juggle this? No, I can be a council person, just help out, put my 2 cents in there, and that's how I did it for a year and a half until I guess in that term, my first term, we lost 2 mayors. So my colleagues, the ones that I run in the first place, they appointed me to be the interim mayor to cover up the 6 months before the next election. And then I had to make the tough decisions. Like, you know what? I did it for 6 months. Let me try and see how it works. And it did. And I've been since working, juggling. I was able to graduate. As you can see, I graduated back in 2020. And I have my girls going to school. It was like, okay, let me time myself. Let me, I learned a lot of about time management.
Mm. What are some things people like misunderstand or underestimate about the role of mayor?
Well, a lot of times, being a Latina and an immigrant, because I wasn't born in this country, it can be challenging for people to understand that I'm capable. Maybe I still have, I have strong accent. Sometimes I have issue making pronunciation of some words because that's not my native. But and people feel like, because you don't speak correctly, or maybe you're not pronouncing right, you're not capable of reading and comprehend what is the whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's like the day-to-day things that every single person face, not just immigrant community, but the community as a whole. They're facing the same issues we all are. This We are on this together, and that's why how I trying to put my message out is, if you need help, if you need anything, I'm here to help you in any way I can.
Okay. I do want to ask about your role as the Latino Business Development Manager. What are some ways that small Latino owned businesses can get in contact with you? Because I know of so many.
Oh yes, please. One of the things I actually implemented the same technique that I used to have when I was doing home visitation for the moms, because I was thinking Latino businesses, they're not gonna come to my office. If they see a government building right there, they're not gonna come to me. So what I did is, like, you know what? I told my boss, don't expect me to be in this office waiting for somebody to come to see me, because they're not gonna come. Let me go out there in the field, and I can door knock, and I can talk to the owners there, because majority of the Latino owners, they are working right there. They are the CEO, but they also in there daily. So that was the only way that I was able to connect directly with them and create, the data that we have now. Um, Providing resources, services, answering questions. Sometimes simple, sometimes they're huge, but they're establishing businesses whether we help them or not. So I try to encourage them to follow us, to connect with the agencies that are working for the businesses. And sometimes it's difficult because they don't have that culture of going and ask, right? They want to do it their own. I was like, no, we are here to facilitate, to make it better for you and improve, whatever services that you are now trying to obtain. We want you to accelerate that process for you.
I just want to go back to something that you said. So I just, as a point of commonality, I went to university to pursue my undergraduate degree in 2012 as a single parent to two children. And I did that full time, and that was hard. But I want to talk about you. So everybody listening, we talk about capability. You are working a full-time job. You have four children, and you're doing an undergraduate degree, and you are running for office and acting as a public servant in an elected office. Just to be correct about all the things that you were juggling from 2012 to 2020 when you graduated, right? That is awesome. And I really, like, as someone who did a tiny fraction of that, I know what a heavy lift you did. And it is like genuinely so amazing and so incredible, like what you bring in. And actually, just for people watching, we are only get to have our CEO for half an hour today instead of our usual hour, because she has so much going on and she is so busy. So we really are honored that you took this time to be with us. And I want to talk about running for office. We need people like you. We need good people who are committed and care deeply about their communities to run for office. And I know that that can feel very daunting for some folks. So I'm wondering if you can just talk about, like, what does it take to throw your hat into the ring? Like, what does it take to decide to go, and what words of advice do you have for people?
Well, I would say it can be frightening sometimes because you don't know, how people will react to it. But at the end of the day, is that if you have a passion for the community, if you have a passion for anything that you want to do in life, it's like just go ahead and do it. The worst thing they can say is no. And then at the end, you have to keep that mindset that is, what do you have to lose?
Do you have
I
any?
still have a job. I still have a job to
Right.
do. So it's not that I'm depending on this elected official career. I have another things to do. So I'm doing this because I wanna, maximize my time, giving something back to the community that raised me. Because I wouldn't be without the community that surrounds me, right? So don't be afraid. Don't be scared. I mean, if this door closed, there will be more. I would say if there's all the closes, all the doors are closed. There's windows out there that you can escape.
I I love that. I love, like, keep on going. Do not get discouraged. That is amazing. Do you? And actually, that is one of my questions. Actually, the word discouraged. I have written. I've prepared a question, and you just hit the word discouragement, which is in here. How do you avoid becoming discouraged? Because there's this red. I mean, discouraged sometimes. There's two ways, right? One is just the effort, the work. But there's also, we're in a time period where there can be this really negative rhetoric on social media directed at people who are almost but not quite donating their time, right? I realize there's a small stipend that people get to do the work that you're doing, but it is really, you're not getting paid to do, at all comparative to the labor. And people can be mean. So how do you avoid being discouraged?
Well, I try not to we are humans, and we always tend to take the negative things first, right? Because we are like, oh, everybody's saying this, or how many people are saying that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna take anything. I'm just going to focus on how positive a change, you know, what positive change we can do. Because negatives are gonna be there regardless of what we want them or not. And sometimes, I read some of the negative comments, not because I want them to get into me, but if there's something there that I feel like maybe, I need to improve something. Because those negatives sometimes serve you as an improvement process. Okay, I'm gonna listen to some and see if that's, you know, it's gonna help me. But if it's not gonna help me, discard it. It's not worth it because there always gonna be people behind a desk, behind the screen that is not doing anything, but they are the first ones to criticize. So I'm gonna take it from who is talking, who is saying that. What have you done to come and say something about it when you haven't done or move one finger to do anything other than typing? That's how I take it.
Yeah. And I know we're running on low on time with you,
Don't worry,
Rocio.
don't worry.
I'd love
I
to know what's
like
next
I
for
said,
you.
I can join. They know I had this meeting. I just didn't want to, you know, I just wanted to dedicate the time. But I know it's juggling, work, everything else. But thank you for the opportunity. Really, I honestly appreciate it because um, not every day, people listen to the stories that there's so many stories out there that people need to hear about.
Mm, yeah. So what comes next for you?
Well, I have made it already official. I did put my petition to run for state delegate. So I'll be running for state delegate for District 47A.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that's my next.
What I just, well, we have, I know we only have a few minutes, but I want to talk about something that we hear a lot, especially when we're working with women leaders. I hear much more from women than from men, so I'm curious about that. But it's really, I've heard other women leaders talk about the importance of mentorship. So people who have supported them as they rose and then acting as mentors to others. And I'm wondering if you have thoughts on this, or people who really lit the way for you.
Of course, my I will say, my number one will be my mom, that always, encourage me to do what's best. But no, in the community, I have seen mentors. I had a great, well, you probably heard about him. He's amazing guy. Adam Ortiz, when I first, you know, he was one of the first people that I spoke with about it. And of course, he gave me the go ahead, right? And sometimes you want to hear that, that you can do this. And I have surrounded myself with people that encourage me every day, that tells me, oh, I have other mayors too that always like help me out, encourage me out. I can name so many. When I have my neighbor next door, Mayor Robinson, who's great. Um, uh, Mayor Miles when she was in Mount Rainier. So I can mention a lot of people that, from the beginning, they gave me that push, yes, go ahead, you can do it. So it's so many people around me, and I try to keep those and surround me with people that are being there, that they understand, the day to day issues. So yes, it's a lot of people. You don't always, listen. Your boss. Sometimes, when somebody's pushing you to that limit, because they might see something on you that you probably don't even notice.
Yeah. So our executive director, Jose Villegas, he's the first Latino to hold that position of director of our office, and he's also the first person to be promoted from within the office, because it's usually like appointed, right? And so he has that sort of in common with you. And I'm wondering, and he started in our office as an intern. That was the amazing thing. So he sort of grew up in this office, and then now he holds the top position. So I'm wondering, like, what are you doing, or are there any things you would like to do in the future to help pull people up behind you, especially young Latinas who are looking at you and like saying, "Oh, she broke this glass ceiling. Now I can do it as well."
Well, first of all, thank you to Jose. I think I know Jose about 10 years now. That's how we met, because I'm the mayor here, but he's a great guy. I really think that he's doing an amazing job with you guys in there. So um, I talk to students, I encourage students, I talk to many kids. I try to involve them, even including, my own kids. I try to explain to them the importance why being in this. Doesn't have to be a politician, doesn't have to be an elected official, but get involved. Get involved with, because we are on this together. And if not, at least you're gonna meet somebody that will be that mentor that you need to have in life, right? But if you're not out, you don't put yourself out there, how are you going to know? How are you gonna learn? So yes, every time I had the opportunity, I encourage young, and I say, this, I might be opening this path, not for me, because I don't want to be the only one. There can be
Mhm.
a lot of other people. Um, I will say, I tell the kids, more intelligent, more capable, but you don't have to be afraid. Just put yourself out there. And yes, I try to speak to anyone. I go to school sometime when they invite me to speak to them. I try to get teenagers to get service hours where they can. I offer them, the space to volunteer. So even if they just come, just to show presence, they don't have to do anything. Just be there. So and then you might be afraid to do. I remember this girl. She was so shy, and she was like she didn't want to talk to anyone. And I was like, no, just come, don't get discouraged, just come. And now she's the number one is calling, do you have an event that I can go? So those are the things, for me, that's after, like, you pushing her to be there. Now she wants to be here. So that's I guess that's what I take, that I
Mhm.
can encourage somebody else to get off that comfortable corner. Don't be comfortable. Just be challenged.
That is really good. Don't be comfortable, just be challenged. That is such a, we always love to leave people with something to take away from the conversation. And I think that that is it right there. Here's a comment from a viewer talking about how inspiring you are, saying that you're truly inspiring. And he says that he greatly appreciates your wisdom, energy, and commitment to service.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you. And I know that your time is precious, and we really are so grateful that you chose to spend half an hour with us today to just, we really wanted to highlight you as a first Latina mayor and the work that you're doing in community. And I hope that viewers are thinking about the ways that we all can contribute, right? And then there's things that we can do. And I loved your message too about like not getting hung up on those closed doors, right? Like keep it moving, keep going. That's really very inspiring. It has been an honor to feature you for Women's History Month for this edition of OHR In Conversation with. You have made and you continue to make history, and we're lucky that you chose to be with us today. So thank you. And for everybody watching, whether you're joining us live or you're watching on demand later, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us. And we hope you've gotten something out of this conversation with Rocio. Hopefully, some of that inspiration and motivation to go out and connect more fully with your community. We invite you to check out our office, the Office of Human Rights, by going to civilrights.mypgc.us and to see all the ways that we're here for you, including some more of our upcoming events. Again, Rocio, thank you so much for this half an hour.
No, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. This is great. I'm so sorry, I can't stay the entire hour, but I'm here. You guys can follow me on social media. You guys can come and volunteer for anything, business, community, everything. I'm here, like I said, to support as much people I can. And I know that it's difficult timing for a lot of people with everything that is happening in the world, but I will say just keep you positive mindset, and we're gonna get through this.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, I'm just going to take us off there. Goodbye, everyone.